Homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zengkong. Homage to His Holiness 16 Karmapa. And homage to Master Thubten Dorje. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice today, the yellow Jambala. Sumu, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, all disciples present here and over the internet, and our participating VIPs today are Madam to Ambassador Daniel Liao, the Taipei rep to Sweden and Norway, Dharma Sister Judy. The accountant to Tribhuda Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa. Dr. Ryan Zhuang. And the head of the Riverside Charity Society of Malaysia, Dharma Brother Liang. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? In Cantonese. Today we practice Yellow Jambala Dharma. And he is referred as Jambala in Tibetan, the yellow wealth deity. And he's actually the heavenly king of the north, a manifestation of the heavenly king of the north. And we have said before, the wealthiest one in heaven are the four heavenly kings. And in the ocean, the richest one is the dragon king. And on earth, the richest one should be Prithvi Deva. Prithvi Deva. And also the Earth Mother Goddess and all the mountain gods. They are the wealthiest on earth. And in the human realm, the wealthiest one is behind this temple. Bill Gates of Microsoft. So he's considered the wealthiest in this human world. Our Seattle temple, when we chose this site, when we were building this temple, Microsoft was not there. It was just wood. empty, uninhibited woods. As we drove by, I said, this is a very good piece of land. This is the land of the richest man on earth. As I was referring to that piece of land that is now belongs to Microsoft. This is the land that belongs to the richest man on earth. So please raise your hand if you heard this at that time. They did. And also Simu. You know, at that time, Microsoft was not there. We came here first, and they followed. So when we chose this piece of land, at that time, I thought that the Seattle temple would be catching the water from the dragon. And that's a good piece of land. There's at the back, and then in front there's Lake Sammamish. There's the reflection, like a mirror. And so dragon side here on the left and tiger side. So they're like a cushion, and then there's also like a rounded hill right here. So this is like the naturally protruding piece right here where the temple stands. And then on two sides are the 8 families. We bought this piece of land together. So the 8 families donated money to build this temple. So it was divided into 8 families and 1 temple. And this place is, the geometry is like accepting or receiving the water of the dragon. And we can see Lake Sammamish from here before those houses were built in front of us. So there was a dragon channel here. So the coming dragon, there's another coming dragon behind us, and it's a beautiful one. So as I said, that land belongs to the richest man on earth. And this temple is also a #1 head temple of True Buddha School. The only thing that's slightly different is that the dragon side of the temple is a little bit low, and the tiger side is a little bit high. And according to Taiwanese, if the tiger side is higher than the dragon side, then the wife beats on the husband. So the white tiger is slightly higher and the green dragon is slightly lower. So that's why we have several heroines like Simu. and also a few of the female masters, which was very like a pioneers, generals. So the geometry here is very good. Although the temple is small, but the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are huge, are gigantic. It has a formidable power or dignity. So when we were building this temple, we don't know where Microsoft was. We came here in 1982. Oh, in 1982, we immigrated to United States. And then in 1985, we started to build this True Buddha Seattle temple. At that time, Microsoft was not there. So we came here first, and then later they bought the piece of land. So they should have come and visit the head, because this place is the head. So in the business world, Microsoft is the head of the dragon. But here is the head of the dragon in the religious field. So, although this is a small piece of land and a small piece of geomancy, but it can deliver sentient beings from the 5 continents, from all over the world. So that's quite rare that can reach all corner of the worlds, all corner of the worlds. There are True Buddha school disciples in Russia, in Mongolia, Outer Mongolia, Inner Mongolia, Xinjiang. We have disciples there, like the famous composer and song artist Wang Luobing from Xinjiang province, was also a True Buddha school disciple. So the fact that we could be so prosperous and flourishing, we also rely on the geomancy of the land. So we have the earth, and we also rely on the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and that's the heaven. So between the heaven and the earth and the human beings who put in the best effort to spread the True Buddha Dharma, so that's why we are able to reach all corners of the world. I often said in the past that True Buddha schools is a bunch of beggars, but the beggars union is also a huge union, right? But these beggars now have a little bit of money. So we all started from being beggars or the poor, and to distribute all over the world, and to work so hard. And now we have temples and chapters and centers. They are gradually established. And our Dharma, of course, encompasses all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Herukas, Dhammapalas, Dakinis, and all heavenly beings. And the yellow Jambala is one of our yidams, or personal deities, and he also has great power. He helps us greatly. So the four heavenly kings help True Buddha School greatly. To protect the True Buddha School altars. Oh, okay. Now, and also Sakyamuni Buddha was from India. And in the beginning, his teaching spread to the Southeast Asia, and that was the Hinayana Buddhism. And then to China, and that was Mahayana Buddhism. And in Tibet, in the Tibetan areas, and that's the Tantrayana or Vajrayana Buddhism. And from China, it spread to Korea, Japan, and now it spread to the West, the Western countries. So the Buddha Dharma propagation has to rely on the help of the wealth deities in order to reach all over the world. And True Buddha School also has many devas or heavenly gods to help. Like the one who invited Sakyamuni Buddha to stay in samsara to turn the Dharma wheel, to give Dharma teaching, and that was Brahma, the Maha-Brahma. And also the Trayastrimsa, the 33 heaven, or Indra, and the one with the highest position should be Vishnu, and also Shiva, the Mahaswara, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. And we also have wealth deities here, Ganesh, the red Jambala. And at home, Grandmaster has the wife of Shiva, Kali, and also Saraswati. At Tantric Quarter, I have Saraswati and Mahasri. They are all helping True Buddha School to spread all over the world. So we are very grateful to all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Herukas, Dhamma protectors, Dakinis, and all heavenly beings for their protection and support to True Buddha School so that we can flourish. And we are also very grateful to all the wealth deities, the yellow Jambala, the red Jambala, the black Jambala, the white Jambala, and the green Jambala, to help the true Buddha disciples. and to prosper. So today we will continue to talk about Lamdre. So we have finished talking about descent. Now we will be talking about holding. The broad explanation for it is the completely pure physical or wisdom consort sits at the comfortable distance and learn to visualize sex, to let the light drops descend due to the burning fire of mundane desire. What is the completely pure physical or wisdom consort? Generally speaking, a yogi, a tantrika, a secret practitioner relies on the completely pure physical consort or wisdom consort. So what is the physical body? Everyone seated here is called a physical body. So anyone with the real physical body. Actually, it refers to the physical consort. Completely pure physical. Of physics. So the consort has to be completely pure. The physical consort, according to Master Chen Jianming, has no expectation or request when she comes. Then she's not asking for anything, and there's no string attached as she leaves. So when the physical consort leaves the yogi or a tantrika, a practitioner who practices highest yoga tantra, she has no strings attached. So she has no requests when she comes and no strings attached when she leaves. So that's one of the purity. So she has no requests when she comes, and she doesn't leave with strings attached. So that's the completely pure physical consort. And what is a wisdom consort? Last week at the Rainbow Temple, I performed Dorje Patmo, Vajra Varahi. At that time, Vajra Varahi descended from the sky, and Grandmaster formed the mudra of Vajra Varahi. This is the one. And she descended from the sky into the space. So Grandmaster and she made a pair, face to face. So this Vajravarahi was wisdom consort. So what is wisdom consort? is the consort who descends from the sky. That's called the wisdom consort. Like Kali, she is the consort of Shiva. Very simple. That's Buddha Mother. So consort we can use different word, a more superlative word to describe consort is Buddha Mother. Like Mahasri is a Buddha Mother. Saraswati is together with Yamantaka. Saraswati, the goddess of the marvelous sound. And the one together with Hevajra is Nairatma, or the Buddha Mother with no ego. The one who is together with Vairocana Buddha is the Mahaswara Buddha Mother, or the Buddha Mother with great self-mastery. Nairatma, the Buddha Mother with no ego. Mahasri, Saraswati, and Mahasri. They are all Buddha Mothers. And the one who's together with Chakrasambhara is Doche Pamu, Vajravarahi. All these Buddha Mothers are in the sky. A real sadhaka can invoke the Buddha Mother from the sky to perform the dual execution, to perform the consort practice, and that is also considered the highest yoga tantra. So she's the completely pure Buddha Mother from the sky. And the physical consort is one that is fully qualified with the consort's qualifications. Something very special. Like the way she walks, it's in circles. That's the lotus steps. That's also a special characteristic. For example, the white tiger. And the translator, what is the white tiger? May think.
White tiger.
White tiger. The translator translated into white tiger. She didn't know what it meant, but I had explained it. Actually, I know. So white tiger is also a special characteristic of a consort. And a fragrance smell on her body, and she doesn't sweat. She doesn't sweat the foul odor. Like Simu never sweats. And Simu is also a white tiger. So I made her secret public. And most people, when they encounter a white tiger, they would cry out and say that the husband must die. And there was also the legend in Malaysia too, right? Yang. So that's also the folklore in Malaysia. So when a man encounters a white tiger, he will be
就会被杀死，
beaten to
杀死
death,
比较快，
will be
动
killed.
到杀死就死了。
Killed would be faster.
杀死是一种细菌，很厉害的。
SARS,
你知道女生有白虎的，很少有，根本就没有。
it's very rare and few to encounter a white tiger.
两眉之间有一纹，
But that's also a characteristic of a consort. And a line between two brows
腹肌以上有3纹，
and 3 vertical lines above the navel.
她的脸一定是非常的妩媚。
And the face is very attractive, very beautiful.
是很非常的妩媚，脸非常的妩媚。还有特征，
The face is quite seductive.
哎呀，这是明妃的特质。
So as soon as I see, I can tell the characteristic of a consort.
不要以为明妃好当，我告诉你。
Don't think that it is easy to be a consort.
有2颗像小白兔的这个牙齿，
Or there are
有2
2
颗门牙
center
稍微大
teeth
一点
that are slightly bigger. Those are also characteristic of a
这个嘴
consort.
唇啊，嘴唇稍微翘起来一点点，
Or lips that are somewhat protruding,
这脸上一定是有
protruding
春天的气
upward.
息
And then the youthfulness,
脸上一定有春天的气，这是明妃的特质。我跟大家讲啊，这个明妃的特质就是这样。
so that's the special characteristic of
一
consorts.
般来讲是没有的。那个像那个
But generally, they are hard to find.
像鼻子这样子塌起来，
Like when
像
her nose is like this, like the pig's nose,
像那个眉毛下垂，那个
or the eyebrows are drooping
像白
down,
鹿肠的，这个当然不是明
like
妃的
the white impermanence, like a folklore
嘴
character,
巴呢，这笑起来啊，一直裂到这个，
or like a
裂到这
mouth
耳朵的。
that is so wide, like reaching the ears. That's also not consort.
像眉毛，这个倒竖的，不是峨眉，峨眉就非常的，
Like
不是峨
a
眉，
beautiful curved eyebrows are very nice.
而且是倒竖的，
But if an upside down eyebrows, that looks very
像那个
fierce. That's not. Of course, that's not.
像我们这次农民历印的那一只小猪啊，
Like the picture of a pig on our lunar calendar booklet.
它的体
That's
态
not.
是不一样的，
And their
那个腰都是很
physical
细
posture, the figure
腰都是很细的，
is different. The waist is always very
这
slim.
个叫红腰，红啊，
That's
蜜蜂
called
的腰
the waist of a
蜜蜂的
bee.
腰很细，
The waist of a bee is very
很
slim,
圆的，
very small,
它的下半身是非常的
but
圆，
the bottom is very
但
round.
是腰是很细的，
But the waist is very slim.
那个才是明妃的特质。
That
实体明妃的特质
those are the special characteristic of a consort, of a physical consort, or a wisdom consort.
刚刚跟大家讲，就是你
Like
要
what I just
观
said,
察得出来，
you need to be able to observe
以凡夫贪腐，然而明点将。我们现在都是凡夫，
to let the light drops descend to the burning desire of mundane desire.
以
We are all mundane beings here. So what is the fire of desire or passion? So both man and woman, men also have the fire of desire, and the same for women. So that's the fire of desire. So the fire of desire can merge with the inner fire and to let it burn all over the body. Then the light drops will drip or will descend. Here is the body chakra, the bodhicitta moon water. It would descend, but not necessarily from there. Why? Because the inner fire has not risen to burn these light drops. So even if the fire of desire is at the secret chakra, there would also be secretion, there would be light drops generated. Because as soon as your desire is ignited, then the secretion will be produced. It's very simple. If you see some sour plum, then you would start to salivate. Our elder monk is Master Changren. Tonight we have an elder, a senior here, and also Master Changzi is also considered a senior. Now he is teaching in Taiwan. So Master Changzi, whenever he sees durian, like the good durian of Malaysia, I could hear his saliva standing next to him. So whenever he sees durian, he starts salivating. So the light drops descend due to the burning fire of desire. So when the fire of desire and inner fire blazes, then your light drops, your liquid secretion will descend. So if you see something you love to eat, like plums, that's kind of sour, then you start to salivate. Or if you see something you love to eat, then you start salivating. You know, like our senior master Changzi, whenever he hears just the word of durian, he would just start salivating. And especially if you say it's the Mao San Wang, it's a type of durian, that he would be really pleased. You know, when he wants to eat, then he would give one to Simu, and then he would start eating it. And the same with Simu. She would salivate whenever she hears durian. She loves durian, and she can eat whole meals of durian. We went to Malaysia, to a place called Ipoh, and there was a box of durian, and she didn't eat anything else, just ate the durian. Hey, now I am salivating too. So the light drops descend due to the burning fire of mundane desire. And the light drops inside the minuscule channels waver. So the light drops can waver, tremble. So inside all the channels, the light drops will tremble. And there would be channels on the secret chakra, navel, the heart, the throat chakra, the brow chakra. And there are many more channels all over the body. And we also call them the capillaries. And they all would tremble. You know, when the fire of desire blazes all over the body, your whole body will tremble. So for both man and woman, that you would start to shake and vibrate. When the light drops descend, your whole body would vibrate and tremble. And the bliss will be generated, light drops will be generated in a fire, and the fire of desire will also be generated. So that's the desire of human being. Everything will tremble. During the bliss practice, it doesn't leak, but for mundane beings, they would definitely leak. So when light drops generated, then it would be emitted. There would be emission. However, for a yogi or a cultivator of the highest yoga tantra, he cannot emit anything. But for the woman, the consort, it's okay to leak, but not for the man. So the man cannot have any emission, and that's rare. So that's why you should practice the non-leaking practice first. Once you have practiced the non-leaking, then you don't leak any light drops. If there is no emission of the light drops, then you can maintain your radiance all over the body, and your skin will be smoother and finer than most ordinary people. That's for sure, definitely. The skin will not age. Like now, Grandmaster is already 74. Okay, let's check my skin. But I'm wrapped all over. But the skin on my face, due to the sun and wind for 74 years, and I never use any lotion or moisturizers. And Simu often reminded me, in Seattle it's rather dry, you should put on a little bit of lotion, but I never did. So the skin on my face is rather coarse. And I never put on some exfoliator or mask. But the skin underneath is very smooth and fine. See? Look at my arm. Right? It's fair and soft and bright and smooth. You pao pao. It's so white and like kind of oily, you know, very moist. And it's the same all over my body because the sun doesn't touch it, so they're all fair and very fine.
看起来不会老化。我有一次在游泳，
It doesn't age.
人家问我说你几岁？我说70。
Very delicate. When I was in the swimming pool, someone asked me, how old are you? 70.
皮肤要粗。
Wow, how come? Your skin is still very, very delicate and very fine.
你这个修乐，
That's not the skin of a 70-year-old. So by practicing the bliss,
无上密布，它会产生一种乐出来，快乐。
so in the highest yoga tantra, it will generate a kind of bliss.
快明点出来的时候，它就产生乐。
So the bliss is generated when the light drops generates, and that's a rather short bliss.
你这个明点不出去，
But the bliss,
摇不出去，
when you are non-leaking,
乐
when the light drops is not emitted and it's not moving, then that would be called the great bliss. The great bliss.
出去的乐，那只是小乐。
But the bliss that's emitted, that's a small kind of bliss, and that would be suffering and not bliss.
明点呢，吸收
Not happiness.
开张之际，
It is to be maintained at the rim of the opening.
你要
In order to maintain these light drops,
自己本身的这个明
in your mind, you need to remember that you need to retain the light drops and not to let it leak.
叫开张之际，
So what is the border of the opening?
都是打开的，
Because
全身的
when you are blissful, all the skin pores would
打
open
开的，
all over the body.
在开张之际，你必须要守护住。
So at the limit of this opening,
要给它守护，
just before the great bliss, you need to hold it so that it doesn't leak.
双手金刚拳交于胸，
And both hands form the Vajra fist posture, cross at the chest.
双手
So this is the Sakya 6 movements.
双掌这样子。
So the palms, what is the Vajra fist?
这是握拳呢，
It's like this, forming the fists
拇指放在里面，
with the thumbs inside.
这是另外一种。
So you hold the thumbs.
双手握住，
This is a kind of posture.
然后双手交于胸，
This is called the fist scepter. And then you put it cross in front of your chest
另外呢，缩腹，
and
讲过了，缩
tuck
小
in the belly,
缩小腹，
as I said
缩小
before.
腹就是提肛嘛。
So you lift up your anus, lift up your anus,
你这个前面的腹贴背，
tuck in your abdomen, and to press it against the spine or the
将
back.
贴在背上，贴肌，眼上翻视，
The eyes roll upward. Only Grandmaster is able to do this. The sun and the moon
两个眼球
looking
向上
to the
看
heaven. So 2 eyeballs looking up. This
两个
is
眼球向上看。
a method to live.
它这里写成眼上翻
So
视，
it's written here, the eyes roll upward
忍密，把密处，
and hold the secret.
然后这个时候
So you hold the secret area.
停了，
And at this time, you don't perform the dual execution. You stop.
这个明点要冲出来的时候，
Because when the light drops is about to be emitted, you need to hold
它
it
不冲出来，
so that it doesn't
就是那时候
leak.
不做双运，因为你一直
And
在
then
做
at
双
that
运
time, you need to stop the dual execution.
就出来，
If you continue, then it would flow
翻
out,
腾
would
那个叫
leak.
翻腾啊，不做
So if you don't
翻腾的时候，
move or you don't,
它就不会流出来。
then it will
你
not
只要做
leak.
这几个动作，
So you need to do these few movements.
不过这里面还少。
You need to train and to perform it often or frequently. the Sakya 6 movements,
日月朝天，
sun and moon looking up,
舌抵上颚，
the tip of the tongue touching the upper
腹
palate,
背，提肛，
tuck in the chin, push in your abdomen
金刚前，交叉胸前，
to touch the back, lift up the anus, and form the Vajra fist and cross at the chest. So you need to do all
突
these
然间一起
movements,
坐起来，
and once you master them, you can do them simultaneously. And then the man can hold it.
密
So to hold the secret.
忍密，这里面写着忍密，不实作双音。
And stop performing the dual execution.
说种种贪欲，是
If one is learning the sound, then say all kinds of desirous
也
words.
就是讲说，
Desirous words.
声音者说种种贪欲。什么叫贪欲？
So what is the desirous words?
贪欲，在双音的时候都是讲贪欲。
So when you're in dual execution, you would say all those passionate words
男的也是讲贪欲，就是双音的
for
时候
both the man and the
贪
woman.
欲什么叫贪欲？
What is it? The desirous words.
他们在做这个事情，
Like when a couple
他们
is
是讲贪欲，那个时候才讲
doing this, they would say all this desirous
也是要这样
words.
子，要这样子调练啊。我看看
So you need to practice and
啊，这个就是讲那个双音的一些事情。我今天大概就讲这样子。
that's probably all for today.
啊，讲一个笑话给大家听。
Let me share a joke.
有一个精神科的医生跟精神病犯的对话。
A dialogue between a psychiatrist and the
病
patient.
人问医生，
The patient asked the
青蛙
doctor,
为什么会飞？
how come the frog can
青蛙
fly?
本来不会飞的，怎么青蛙
But
为什么会
frogs
飞
don't
呢？
fly.
医生就
But
笑，
why does the frog fly?
不知道
And the
为什么
doctor smiled and he doesn't know.
病人精
Why?
神病犯就讲，因为
And the
青
patient
蛙
said,
吃了神奇的小药丸。
because the
莫
frog
名其妙，什么叫神奇的小药
ate
丸？
the magical
那
pill.
病人在问，
And the doctor was
那
curious,
为
well,
什么
what is the
蛇
magical
会
pill?
飞呀？
And the patient asked again,
这
why
时候医生就是
why can the snake fly?
蛇
And
为什么会飞？
so the doctor
因为
said,
蛇吃了
because the
神奇的
snake
小药丸。
has eaten the magical pill.
病人回答错，
And the patient said,
因为
wrong,
蛇吃了青蛙，
because the snake ate the frog.
所以蛇才会飞。
So that's why the snake could fly,
好了，
because the frog
医
could
生又不
fly.
讲话，病人又
And
问，
the doctor didn't say anything, and the patient asked again, how come the
医
eagle,
生这回他
how
很
could
生气地
the
回答
eagle fly?
因为老鹰
And the doctor replied, oh, because the eagle ate
只
the
是病人
snake.
大声狂笑地说，
And the patient laughed really hard and said,
老
are
鹰
you
本来就
crazy?
会飞的。
Because eagle can fly.
这精神科的医生就回答，
Eagles can fly. And
不
the
跟你讲了，我要去
psychiatrist said, okay, that's it for now. I want to lie down.
啊，师尊今天讲这个无上密，它是有结构性，有结构性。
So today, Grandmaster is talking about the highest yoga tantra, and there's
而
a
不是随便讲
infrastructure. It's not to be said haphazardly.
所以无上密部，密教有无上密部，就是把人的欲望、
So in Tantrayana, there's the highest yoga tantra,
贪腐、欲望，
that is to change the mundane desire of human beings into spiritual cultivation. So I asked Sakyamuni Buddha, but isn't that like obscenity, like an obscenity? And the Buddha said, and then but I said, isn't the Buddha violate the precepts? No, because the obscenity is when the normal, the mundane beings are leaking. But the non-leaking practitioners is pure, because everybody in the samsara perform sex. Where do we come from? All sentient beings come from sex. We don't come from the clouds. It comes from sex. All sentient beings come from sex. If we come from the state of obscenity into pure spiritual cultivation, then it becomes pure because it has a certain structure. It would make your channels to be open and flowing smoothly, to eradicate your sicknesses and to eradicate your afflictions and disturbing emotions, and also to eliminate your doubts, and you would experience better sensation, and moreover, you may be able to see light, and you also transform your body into rainbow light. And that's attainments in the spiritual cultivation. And that's the pure Dharma. So what is done by mundane beings, that's obscenity. But what is done by the sages is pure and pure clear light radiance. So that's the only difference. Dad, Xiaoming asked his dad, as a dad, do you know more than the son? And Dad replied, of course. And then Xiaoming asked, who invented light bulbs? And the dad answered, Edison. And Xiaoming asked again, if dads know more, then why didn't Edison's dad invented light bulbs? And the dad replied, because at that time there were no light bulbs, it was all dark. And Edison's dad was busy giving birth to Edison. So this is a joke related to that. Someone said, why around the airport there are many births near the airport? Because planes take off early in the morning, and then the inhabitants around the airport wake up early in the morning, but it's still dark, so you know what they do? That's why they give their children a many. That's a joke.
这个一个小女生
A small
讲
girl
幼稚园
said,
有个小男孩
at the kindergarten there's a small boy
找茬在欺负他，
who always tease and bully
他的
her
妈妈就
every
问
day.
那你有没
And
有
her
办法
mom
对付
asked,
他呢？
Can you handle
这个
him?
小女孩就咬着她
And
的
this
舌
small
头
girl
讲
was
我决定
crunching her
长大以
teeth
后
and
嫁给
said,
他，
I decided to marry him when I
然
grow
后
up.
呢，
And
以后
then
不给他零用钱，
I will not give him
生气
any
了
pocket money.
就让他来
When I'm
洗
mad,
马桶。
I would let him clean the
我
toilets.
如果我不高兴了，就是逛
And
街去
if
买衣
I'm
服。
upset, I would shop for
用
clothes.
你对付我爸爸的手段来对付他。
I would use
对
the
小女
same
孩子讲，
ways to handle the same ways as yours handling dad. It's not so funny. Nobody laughed.
啊，曾经有人问我，
Someone
谁给
asked
我的
me,
生日礼物最好？
who give
我说是
me
爸
the
爸，
best birthday
因为
gift? I
我
said
妈妈
mom,
送我一条命，到现
because
在
my
我还
mom
在用
gave me a gift of life that I'm still using.
这是很有道理的。好，
This is a very
我们
good,
讲这个佛法也是要讲道理。
very good reason.
为什么命叫
So
我？
in talking about Buddha Dharma, we have to be reasonable.
为什么
Why in Tantrayana we have highest yoga tantra?
实体的？
And why in highest yoga tantra we have
像
physical
中卡巴，
as well as
他就是
wisdom
完全
consorts?
没有智慧，
Like for Guru Tsongkhapa, he had no wisdom consort and no
自己
physical
去修行
consort.
也能够这样子修，
He cultivated on his
但是
own
一定要
and
依靠
was able to as well.
依靠一种力量，
But he had to rely on an external power to guide you.
像这个我们本尊相应，到时候
Like
我们走的时候，本尊要出现。
When we are in spiritual union with Yidam, at the moment of death, the Yidam would appear, and you merge with the Yidam, and the Yidam would bring you to the Buddha land.
你已经相应了，
So that means you are already in spiritual union with the Yidam. So you
你
need
如果
the
一
third
定要
party
提
to
升
guide
成
you.
佛的话，
However,
必须要学习
if you want to attain
演化
Buddhahood in this
大智慧
body, then you have to learn from Guru Padmasambhava and
自己能够发光，
Guru Padmasambhava's Dharma, so that you can generate clear light
空
lucidity.
中的光。
And once you are able to emit light, you can merge into the light of the sky,
一种是
and then you
直
can
接性
attain
一种
Buddhahood
是间
directly.
接性
One is directly and one is
它是有它的
indirectly.
道理。
And they each has their own concepts. And I have talked about it very clearly.
众生都可以承认，所有的
However, not all sentient beings approve of this Dharma.
这是 dirty，
People would say that this kind of Dharma is dirty.
你自己也是 dirty，
If you keep saying it's dirty, you are dirty too, and you came from dirty too. Where did you come from?
父母
Of
dirty，
course, you came from the dirtiness of father, your dad and mom, your mom and dad. And then you also dirty too,
我单身，像
unless
爸爸
you're single like Guru Tsongkhapa,
本尊给你生
and you're a pure spiritual cultivator and in union with the Yidam and being absorbed by the third party or the deity.
歌的也很多啊，
But not all single men are pure. There are many single men who are horny, who are like pigs, or the women who are like pigs too.
其实你讲 dirty， 其实讲的也是自己啊，自己也是 dirty 啊。
So if you say that it's dirty, but that means you are dirty too.
从这里把它修无漏呢？
So why don't you practice non-leaking? Once you have children already, you can start training in the non-leaking Dharma. Once you're already non-leaking, then you can perform the consort practice with your own wife. And the two of you can generate or radiate light, clear light. So where does the bliss come from? From emptiness, from empty nature. So you say it's so nice, so happy. So where is that happiness? That is empty nature. It's a kind of sensation. It wasn't there. But why? By frictions or rubbing, then it would be there. Where did the fire come from? When you rub two woods together, where did the fire come from? Where did the bliss come from? So if you can attain bliss and attain empty nature, and then from empty nature you generate clear light radiance, and from bliss you can generate clear light radiance in the universe. In the heavenly realm of desire, that's bliss. In the heavenly realm of form, that's clear light radiance. And then higher, the heavenly realm of no form, that's empty nature or emptiness. So this is my personal experience. A true Buddha would have bliss, clear light radiance, and emptiness. So that's the levels of spiritual cultivation. The lowest state is bliss, and the middle one is clear light radiance, and the highest one is emptiness. So if you read the book of the great realm of the Buddha King, it talks about bliss, clear light, and emptiness. There's no bathroom in the restaurant, and any customers who like to use the bathroom, the shopkeeper would tell them to go across the street. And then someone ran over to the toilets and tell the manager there that they come to eat. So something wrong is here. So you eat when you eat, and that place is for that. So bliss belongs to bliss, clear light belongs to clear light, emptiness belongs to emptiness. And then when the three merge, then that's the Buddha, that's Buddhahood. Okay, let me tell you a true story about the world today. At the bus, there was a man and woman about 10 years old talking. The boy said to the girl next to him, "Everything can be predicted. At least I know that my children would have what family name." That's what the boy said. Like if I were a boy, of course, when I get married and have children, my children would have the family name Lu, right? But for girls, it's different. You don't even know what your children would what family name would your children have in the future? And little did we know, the little girl replied, really? I know that my children are definitely mine, but your children are not necessarily yours. That's really scary. That's reality nowadays. So why don't you check the DNA of your children? You never know. So look at that girl. She's quite wise. Here, between heaven and earth, between man and woman, yin and yang, is all about this. All human lives are about this. So don't be so snuck up. So you need to have spiritual union with the Yidam. That's most important. Then you're guaranteed to be born in the Pure Land. If you are not in any yogic union or spiritual union with the Yidam, there's no need to say more. Don't even talk about highest yoga tantra. But once you're in spiritual union with the Yidam, then you have guarantee. And through highest yoga tantra, you would be able to see light, you would be able to emit light from your body. This is extremely important. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.
非常感谢根本传承。